Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reading and responding to an email I got from one of my subscribers. So shout out to you. Shout out to you, Star Goddess. Thank you for reaching out to me. And it's basically about women bashing other women. Like, why do women attack other women? Especially when one woman is doing well, right? I mean, there's one obvious reason, and then there's not a not so obvious reason. So I'm going to get into the question, and I'm just going to give my little 2 cents. Okay. All right. So let me make this bigger. Okay. Is this big enough? Let me see if I can zoom this in. That's a little too much. Okay, here we go. All right. So Miss Star Goddess says, hey, Miss Universe, can you please make a video on why it is that so much backlash and so much attack from women? I'm not bragging, but I have a 6-figure bank account. I have a new car that I paid for in cash. I'm in the process of building my own home, 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, 2 acres of land in Toronto, and that's not cheap. Also, I don't work. You say I don't work. All of that comes from men. The way I see it is, if you don't use them, they will use you. Believe me, back in the past, I was a pick-me-sha. I also was a Bob the Builder. But I've learned from people like yourself, Ashira Star Goddess, Pink Pills, women like yourself are so empowering. Like I said previously, I have been called a gold digger, scum. I don't deserve to breathe the same air as other human beings. Oh my gosh, this is so horrible. I'm so sorry. Some also, she said, some also went as far as to say that they hope they find my body somewhere nasty, just nasty. Why is it that when a man use a woman, it's okay? But when the tables are turned, you're a horrible human being. This really has to stop. So, you know what? Thank you so much for your question, Star Goddess, and I hope you see this video. Okay. Thank you so much for this for this question, Star Goddess. But I mean, first things first, the reason why people are very, very uncomfortable with the idea of women leveraging their relationships with men to get what they want, or using men to get what they want, is because it would completely disrupt the patriarchal power structure we have, the misogynistic power structure we have, the sexist power structure we have that subjugates women, right? I mean, it would completely disrupt that. So this is why people are mad about that. It's just point out. Unfortunately, I mean, people are mad about it because if a woman knows she can get what she wants from a man without having to put in a whole bunch of work, without having to, put out, it's like the jig is up. The jig is up. Like, women are no longer fooled. Women are no longer playing the game, believing the lies that they have to be submissive little doormats to be good and virtuous, right? So that's one reason why people are upset, right? Like I said before in my last video, right? Like, the exploitation of women is so common and so accepted, very widely accepted, to where, there are joke cliches, like joke/cliches that make fun of using and taking advantage of a woman at her most vulnerable state, right? And, I've said this before. It's terms and cliches like hit it and quit it. No, I just hit it and quit it. Pump and dump. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Right? Like, there are cliched jokes about exploiting women literally at their most vulnerable state. And it's widely accepted, and no one ever bats an eye. No one says anything about it, right? But as soon as a woman is like, in order for me to deal with a man, I'm going to have to benefit in some way, it's a problem. And like I said before, it's because it disrupts the power structure, the hierarchical structure that places men above women in society, right? It makes it harder for men to control women. It makes it harder for men to exploit women when women decide to do the using, right? When women decide to do the same thing that men do, it's a problem. Because then the power structure is disrupted. All right, so that's that. Let me say hey. Hey, Uri, Makangu. No, you're not late. I just got on. just got on. Just got on. So, and as far as women go, you ask, like you're doing very well and you don't work and all of these things came from men that have sponsored you, your 6-figure account, your house, your upcoming house, your car. Women are mad because on one level, okay, on a very obvious level, they're jealous, right? They wish they could have all those things without working as well, right? Point blank period. Okay, jealousy is very obvious. But on a deeper level, and I think this may be less conscious, maybe unconscious in a way, is that they've internalized these patriarchal values and ideas that women should be in service to men, right? And so they look at you and they get upset because they're like, wait a minute, this woman is disrupting the order, the gender hierarchy that puts men at the top, right? Because you're not serving men. You're getting what you want from men and you're not serving them. If anything, they're serving you, right? Like I said before, people don't like it when you disrupt a dominant status quo in power structure. For the men, it's obvious because it threatens their privilege. But for the women, it's a little more perverse because they've internalized the patriarchy. They've internalized the misogyny. They've internalized the sexism, right? So on some level, they try to align themselves with men because they think it will empower them, when really it doesn't, right? So, I mean, it's perverse in a way, but that is why women, whether consciously or unconsciously, work to uphold these oppressive systems that put women at the bottom rungs of society. Number one, they've been trained to, they're brainwashed. And number two, I mean, a lot of them feel as though that is the best move for them because they feel as though men will validate them. Like they're looking for that male validation of like, oh yeah, she's a good, respectable woman because she follows the rules and she's in service to men and she's submissive and she's a respectable woman. Blah, blah. Like, that's a thing too. So that's my 2 cents for your question. Should we allow this? I mean, I wouldn't recommend you allow that in your own personal life, but hey, you have to understand that a lot of people will internalize dominant power structures, right? Because if you've been taught your whole life that you are supposed to be quiet and submissive and you are supposed to take the back seat and not assert yourself because of your gender, because of what's between your legs, I mean, then you won't do it, right? So on one level, it's a lot of brainwashing. On the other level, it's just jealousy. But of course, the deeper level would be the brainwashing and the internalization of misogyny, sexism, and patriarchy. That's why women do that. That's why women will bash other women. And honestly, unfortunately, I don't know. Oh my gosh. I do kind of know. I read this article. It was an academic article from a scholar, an anthropologist named Barbara Smuts, I think. And she wrote this article called Male Aggression Towards Women. And she talks about how in non-patriarchal societies, male solidarity was really hard to accomplish because it was really easy for a woman to come between two males, like two brothers, two male friends, because patriarchy wasn't in place to assure that, whose ever child that woman is having is actually that man's child. Like I have to go back and read it, but it talks about patriarchy. It talks about how it really helps for men to stay in solidarity because women are controlled to the point where men are able to keep track of whose child the woman is having, right? You remember back, I remember in the Bible and in other like Abrahamic religious texts, they would talk about how, women would be stoned to death for committing adultery. And oftentimes that happened in these patriarchal religions because the men really needed to know whose child the woman was having in order to figure out, legacy, in order to have a legacy and to establish legacy. But the article then talks about how outside of patriarchy, male solidarity can hardly exist because you have all of these men fighting over women, and the women have a lot more options with who she has relations with, and she's not confined by rules and dogma that will cause her death or ostracization or cause really unpleasant consequences because she's had multiple relations with several different men. So, I mean, but I say that all to say that, like I went on that little tangent because, the reason why, all this misogyny and sexism and patriarchy is still able to dominate the world pretty much is because there's no real solidarity between women. Like as long as we bash one another, as long as we are mad at one another for getting for getting something that we want, we will always be subjugated. So, I mean, honestly, this channel, like I've always uplifted women. Like you see me, if you've seen any of my past lives, like it's always the men that come on and argue with me, but I refuse to denigrate and talk down to another woman, right? Because there's enough of that. There's enough of women bashing other women. I refuse to do that. Okay. And I really think we all should take a pledge to make sure that we don't bash one another as women, because the more we do that, the more patriarchy is able to exist. Like the easier it is for this power structure to stay put and not move anywhere. So we have to really support one another and help one another. This is where patriarchy is threatened. And I mean, as long as these men have you guys out here fighting over them, like they're going to win. They're going to win, unfortunately. Hey, Queen of the South. I like your name. Yay, you finally caught alive. Thank you. But anyway, I just wanted to address this this question. Thank you so much, Star Goddess, for asking the question, but I hope that helped. I mean, it's just my 2 cents, right? I'm just some girl. I'm just some random lady on YouTube, like, right? But I mean, hey, some of you guys say you like to hear me talk, so I'll sit here and talk and give my 2 cents about these topics. But yeah. Why do women bash other women? Because we don't have enough solidarity, and a lot of us will internalize misogynistic and sexist and patriarchal views. And a lot of us have really internalized, these values, and we really do think that we are inferior. And unfortunately, we will talk down to and denigrate other women so we can get that male validation. And I think it's all very stupid. Because who would want validation from the gender that commits the vast majority of crimes, rapes, and assaults in wars in the world? Like, why would I want their validation? Anyway, I'm gonna go now. I hope this was helpful. As I said before in my last live, like you can ask me questions, you can send me emails, you can send me comments, and I'll address them. I'll pick out the ones that I think are interesting, and I will respond to them, reply to them, answer your questions, give my 2 cents. So thank you for coming through. Thank you for leaving chats, Queen of the South. I support that statement. Yes, ma'am. We have to support one another. As long as we run around here trying to fight over men like that, like really? Of all the things that we could be serious about, we're going to be serious about the people that commit the vast majority of crimes, rapes, murders, assaults in the world. Really? But we're not going to take each other seriously. We're not going to work to uplift one another. But you know what? I'm seeing that change a little bit. So I'm happy. As long as there are more channels like mine, like Ashira's channel, like the ones that she's mentioned in this email, the better we have a chance. The better we have a chance of empowering ourselves and dismantling these oppressive power structures. Okay, because at the end of the day, A lot of it is about attempting to control women's bodies. Because if you control women, you control women's bodies. You control women's bodies. You control the means of reproduction. You control the means of reproduction. You control society. You control everything. You control women. You control everything. Because women are at the root of everything. Women are the foundation. So thank you all. Thank y'all for coming through. Facts, toxic validation, just like colorism, is divisive. Absolutely. It's very silly. It's very, very silly. Hey, Sophie. Hey, girl. Hey. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? Queen of the South says, I just watched a part FKA Twigs interview, and she sounds very sincere. Was she talking about something similar? I don't know much about her. I know she dated that guy from, what is it, like Twilight or something like that? Or anyway, I don't know much about her. Anyway. But thank y'all for coming through. Like I said before in my other video, like this is my second time using my DSLR camera, so I'm happy. I'm happy about that, and it's really exciting. But I'll do more of these videos, and thank you very much. Okay. All right. Bye, y'all. See you later. Bye. Oh wait. Oh, okay. So let me see. Okay. So okay. These chats come late. Okay. So you say her abusive relationship with Shia. Girl, honestly, at this point, I just think men have shown us enough throughout history and throughout society for us to have relatively low expectations of them. So I don't know why anyone is surprised, but I mean, I don't know. Yes, that's what she is talking about. He is an admitted abuser and addict, yet he denies what he did to her. I mean, they always will. They always will. That's why on this channel and a lot of these other level up channels that support women, we encourage you to have a goal, get that goal, men approach you, make sure these men are helping you get towards the goal. But the goal isn't to be with a man. Like, the goal is not to be with a man or to be of service to a man or to be a man's wife. No, you have to center yourself in these relationships in order for you to kind of like avoid abuse. Okay. So thank you so much for coming through, and I will see you lovely people later. Okay.